What's up, guys? It's me, David Apuzzo, here with
Russ, Lyman.
and this is the 8-Bit Geekdom Podcast, episode number 2. We got a lot to talk about, so let's get right into it. Russ, take it away.
Jump right into what we were playing this week, what games we've been playing. And I'm currently playing Bayonetta 1. I picked it up on the Wii U. Bayonetta 2 came out, and it came with a free copy of Bayonetta 1. Me and Dave played Bayonetta 2 at his house for maybe 20 minutes or so. I thought it was cool, but I wanted to start with the first game, so I kind of get the whole story. I clocked about 8-9 hours, I think, playing it this past week. I think I'm near the end. I'm not sure how many chapters there are on it, but I think I'm on like level 12 or so. And there's so much you can like replay value with it. Like I can go back to the earlier levels, play those more, and get more like items to unlock better weapons, so I can defeat bosses quicker.
So you're basically powering up?
Yeah, it's almost like a RPG element where, I could just whip through the game. It might be hard, but if I want to play some of the other levels, earlier levels, I could do them better, and you get better achievements, and more weapons. You can unlock different moves. So there's a lot to do with it.
Now, since we played Bayonetta 2 for about 20 minutes, how different is it from Bayonetta 1? Because I'm not familiar with either one of the games.
No, it seemed really, really similar. How they both opened up just about the same, where it's like some epic scene where they're telling you dialogue and you're kind of fighting over it. Mm-hmm. It was the same thing. And then it has pretty much the same move sets and different combo patterns, and you can use all these magic effects, like pulling demons out to fight these monsters. And it has the same over-the-top, like, Japanese like influence.
The crazy Japanese music. And
it's just real wild.
Now, I know one question that I had for you when you bought it, and I don't think you hadn't played the first one at the time, so now that you've played it, the original one was on Wii, correct?
No, I thought it was.
Okay.
It's on the 360. So
Xbox 360.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they had to remake this from the ground up, kind of.
Okay, and then so how are the graphics in comparison to the new Bayonetta? Is it the same? Is it Xbox 360 quality? Like,
I didn't really
tell
the
difference. Did they upgrade it?
Yeah, they had a. It looks beautiful, so it's got to be HD and everything because it comes on a Blu-ray disc. It's not like it's a Wii game, which is on like a lower quality disc. Mm-hmm. So yeah, they just must have kind of took the same game and just ported it over with the controls, because you can use the gamepad and the touch screen to do certain stuff.
Right.
But I just play it regularly.
Yep. Now, when it was on 360 though, I'm
not sure if it came on PS3. It might have.
I'm sure it did.
Yeah.
Did you look up the 360 version and compare it?
Yeah, I didn't watch any side-by-side comparisons, but I'm sure someone on YouTube has done that to see how it differs. So
you haven't played Bayonetta 2 since that first day that you bought it?
Yeah, I didn't put it in at all.
Okay. And how's the story for the first Bayonetta?
There's a lot of questions to be answered, and that's why it kind of keeps you going forward. It's like, where did she come from? Why does she have these powers? Mm-hmm. Why is she fighting like angels and demons?
So it's more of a prequel, I guess.
Yeah. A lot of people, I'm sure, are going to be turned on to the franchise, much like myself, who's never played the first game, and they're like, oh, what is this game on the Wii U? Because a lot of titles on the Wii U, you don't really get that, like, violent or, like, it's very sexual, so to say. A lot of people are talking about that. As you saw when we watched a lot of the cutscenes, it's like,
oh, yeah.
What is happening? What is this?
Right. And as far as the second one goes, I'm interested to see what your thoughts are going to be when you play through the other one. So your comparison of the two games. Yeah. I'm wondering if, the other thing too is Bayonetta 1, I wonder if the Wii U did anything differently in the game. I'm not familiar with the previous game, with the Xbox 360 or anything like that. So I'm interested if, I don't know if you've done any research on it, but is it at all different in any way other than, you can use the gamepad
with the touch controls.
Right.
I imagine it's still the same. I don't think they would have tweaked the story or changed any of that. Maybe they added some levels. I'm not sure on that because of the use of the gamepad and this and that. But
how do you rate it? Granted, you can't rate the second one yet.
Rating for the first one, I give it like a 7.
Okay.
Because I did play it for a few hours when I sat down to play it. Mm-hmm. And which was also as good as because I've been working on my entertainment center, so things have been apart with all my game systems. And what worked great was I could just take the power cord to my Wii U, plug it in, and just turn on my gamepad and play it directly on there. I didn't need my TV. I didn't have to rehook up everything.
Oh, right.
So I just sat on the couch and just played
Yep.
it. So it was almost like a 3DS game because I'm just playing on a gamepad.
Now, actually, I'm glad that you brought that up because the gamepad, I was wondering, because I've been playing a bunch of games on the Wii U lately, and I've actually been playing a little bit on the TV, and I've been playing a little bit on the gamepad.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get a lot of use out of the gamepad now. Mm-hmm. How do you like playing on the gamepad as opposed to on the TV or working on them both simultaneously?
Yeah, I mean, I always look up and down, like depending on where I'm sitting or how comfortable I want to get. I have a nice chase lounge that I kind of fall into, and sometimes it's just easier to hold the gamepad closer to my face than to reposition myself to see the TV better.
Now, do you ever use the gamepad and just play games while Jess is doing something else, like in the same room, or do you use that? Because I know that you don't have cable, so, right, so I know that you're using Netflix.
It limits that because I wish I could, but like in order for her to watch Netflix on the TV, she would need the Wii U,
right?
And then I'm using the gamepad, and you can't have two of those applications open, unfortunately.
I think that would be a good upgrade, is if you could play a game at the same time using another app.
Right, because you could have multiple apps open on your phone, so to say.
Yep. So I don't know, that would be interesting. So cool.
Yeah. So what are you playing, Dave?
I've the past few days, I've actually started to get really into Hyrule Warriors. I had put it aside for a while, and then just the other day, I picked it up again, and I started playing it. And I've been stuck on a mission. I can't get it because you got to go and protect, all of your other guys that are trying to help you battle.
Bigger and more area to cover.
Yeah, a little bit. But actually, yesterday I started really diving into the adventure mode.
Okay.
Where it's got that old NES map. And you go on little missions.
I don't think I've seen that yet.
Yeah, it's really cool. I didn't really know what it was all about until yesterday. I just kind of just sat there and went through it. Yeah. And I was like, let me figure out what I got to do here. And it's mainly for like power ups and gather. It's just a really fun activity to do on the game.
Yeah.
That's not
really break up the gameplay.
Yeah. So I started it. It took me a little while to figure out exactly how the maps worked and moving it through all the missions you get.
Yeah.
But essentially what you do is when you start it out, you can only go to like two sections on the map.
Okay.
And as you beat those missions, the map starts to expand and you can go further in the map.
Okay.
So you start to unlock certain things like the compass or the bracelet or things that were from the candle. Things that
was from the Legend of Zelda and NES.
Right, and then you use that within the map to get all of your secrets.
Okay.
And then it unlocks more things, and it's just a really fun thing to do. And you can have each mission be 5 or 10 minutes. So if you got 5 or 10 minutes to kill, you want to play something really quick.
Yeah.
You go on one of those rather than spending 20, 25 minutes, whatever it takes you to do like a full mission on the actual game. I think it's legend mode.
Because the first time we played, we did the co-op.
Right.
And
I'm finding it very difficult without the co-op because now I got other people to worry about dying, and if they die, then your mission's failed.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that they're all protected, and so you're running around doing all this stuff. And I don't have the game set to easy, so I'm playing it normally. Regular. I think it's on normal difficulty right now, but yeah, that was a big thing. Is the co-op is so helpful that I almost wanted to just call you up and be like, dude, come over because I can't beat this mission. And because, like you said, the missions get bigger, and I'm just having a ton of fun with this game because there's so many little things that you can do.
Yeah.
And then also when you play these these missions in the what I say was the adventure mode,
Right.
you actually use those missions to power up
Your
your
characters.
characters.
Oh, okay.
So you power up your characters, and then you use that in the actual game.
Yeah, so a little bit stronger if you're
Yeah,
playing with Link.
yeah.
or
So
if you're
I've been
using-
working on Link for a while, and I think
Okay.
like I said, I haven't been playing it for very long, but I'm up to like a level 16 on it, and I've been powering up his swords and things like that,
Mhm.
and I'm just starting to learn a lot about the game itself. I haven't done any research on the gameplay. I haven't done any research on the instructions, any of that. So I'm just trying to go into it all
Just
myself.
diving in, yeah.
Right, and trying to figure out what I can do. But I really enjoy it. I'm actually more happy with it than I thought I was going to be.
Okay.
I was actually playing it today, and Becky was sitting, my fiance, she was sitting next to me, and I was just playing it on the TV, and she keeps hearing like the sounds of the grunts and everything when you're using the sword. And she just turns to me. She's like, "Aren't you sick of that sound yet?" And I was like, for me, I don't think about it, but it does have some repetitive things, and I'm like, no, it's a hack and slash. You're just killing enemies. I said one of the missions that I had to do was just simply kill 500 enemies.
Yeah.
And that was it. I had to do 500 enemies in 10 minutes, and that was like the first mission.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, piece of cake. Flew through it, and I think I did it in like 3 minutes because that's just how many enemies there are, and you're just slashing them all over the place. So, yeah. So I've been playing Hyrule Warriors, and I'm really, really enjoying it.
To bring up another thing in Bayonetta, which is great, she has unlockable outfits, and there's a Link outfit.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually use the Master Sword.
Oh,
so
really?
You play with the sword. She has a green tunic on and
cool.
the whole outfit.
Now, did you? I know that was for Bayonetta 2, right?
Yeah. See, I knew it was for Bayonetta 2, and I was messing around with the menu on Bayonetta 1, and they're already unlocked. You get a Samus outfit, Link, a Princess Peach, and Princess Daisy outfit. And those are already unlocked. You don't have to do anything.
But you have to unlock them for Bayonetta 2.
For Bayonetta 2, yeah, you have to get enough like Halo things to buy a certain item that eventually unlocks it.
So do you have any favorites? Have you used them all?
I haven't used them all. I was playing Samus for a while, and you get to use her like cannon gun in the game, and it makes that pew, 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 pew.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that was cool. And then I switched over to use Link, and actually all the little halos, usually when you kill the angels and demons, they turn into rubies.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
now, can you switch outfits mid-game, or do you have to
play? You would have to finish the mission or die, and then do it from the main menu.
Okay.
Because I was trying to do that because I was like, oh, I'm getting tired of being Samus. Let me switch.
So what do you do? Just like kill yourself and then start it over?
Yeah, and then I had noticed too, like it only lets you die essentially 5 times. It shows like a skull and crossbones shows up 5 times, and then after that you could still continue, but then you get the lowest achievement because you died so many times.
Mm-hmm.
So you get a stone award instead of like a bronze, silver, or gold.
Okay.
So you would get a stone award.
Oh, Hyrule Warriors actually does the same thing in that adventure mode. They give you a grade. So like the amount of enemies that you kill in a mission, you can get A, B, C, and then they add them up, and then they give you an overall score. So if you want to go back, you could try to beat your...
Yeah, it all depends how much you want to complete your game. If you want 100%
right.
Or...
Yeah.
I mean, there's so many other games coming out. I don't really have that much time to sink hundreds of hours into it, but...
Yeah, well, actually, bringing that up, is there anything, like, any new games that you're getting into? Or you're waiting on? I know you're waiting on Smash Brothers.
Smash Brothers coming out pretty soon. I think it's like 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I have my pre-order down. I pre-ordered the special bundle edition, and you get Smash Brothers for the Wii U, and you get a GameCube controller with the Smash Brothers logo, and a 4-player adapter for GameCube controllers.
So the 4-player adapter, what does that plug into?
I believe it's just like a USB.
Okay.
And then it's like and then the port's just there, and you can just plug in your GameCube controllers or Wavebird.
Now, they with the Smash Brothers, I've never actually played any of the Smash Brothers.
Okay.
I never really got into it with, was it on GameCube?
The first one was on Nintendo 64.
Nintendo 64.
Super Smash Brothers.
Okay. Now, when they did, when I know that people were talking about like the GameCube controllers. The GameCube controller, like just everybody's go-to? Is that why they do it? I mean, why wouldn't you use the the Pro Controller or anything like
I
that.
think it's just because everyone's held on the fact that Smash Brothers Melee, which came out on the GameCube, was like the most likable version of the game.
And you think it has to do with the controller?
And it could be the controller, or how it feels, and people like that. Because the one on the Wii didn't do so well. That's Smash Brothers Brawl. And now
How was the controller for that? What did you have to use? Did you ever play it?
Yeah, I mean, you just use your remote and nunchuck.
Oh.
Or you can use a GameCube controller or a classic controller.
Right, because the Wii had the hookups already.
I mean, I'm not that hardcore of a Smash Brother player to really matter what controller I use.
Yep.
I bought the one in the 3DS, and I play it here and there, but I haven't unlocked all the characters. It'll keep me busy for a while.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that Nintendo will come out with the 4-port adapter separately rather than the pre-order
I believe
special?
they're gonna have. You'll be able to buy it. I'm not sure about the controller though, because the controller, instead of it saying GameCube, it has like the Smash, like, I don't know, it's like a weird logo. It looks like a fireball or something.
Mm-hmm. But you can use any GameCube
controller or
it's
like third-party one.
Yeah.
It's just that that same plug. So so that's why I said you can use a Wavebird. That adapter will fit in there.
So
whether you can plug in 4 Wavebirds, I'm not sure if the spacing is enough, but I imagine so.
So, well, the downside to that, though, is you're going to have cords.
Yeah.
So, we were having the conversation about us sitting at my house.
Yeah.
My TV's really so far away that...
Now, I don't know how long the cord is on the adapter, whether it's a really long cord that plugs in USB and you can meet yourself halfway and then plug the controller in, or if it's just a little guy.
You can get the extension cables for the controller.
Yes.
Because I actually have a couple of those that I had bought when I used to live at my parents' house because my TV was so far away from my bed.
Yeah.
So I would sit on my bed and play the game. And then I ended up going, I think it was like Toys R Us was having some kind of fire sale. And I think I still have them in the package actually, that it's just a cable that goes into the GameCube and you extend it to the... the
controller.
Yeah, so I have
a couple of those. You
guys
are looking for any? Swing down to Retro Games Plus. We have a full
You guys have those?
Yep, we have them for pretty much every controller.
Well, I think that you guys should make some kind of a post out there and let people know, because I'm sure people are going to buy that and then they're going to say, oh, well, now I got to move my system out. And, some people that are using the Wii U this generation didn't have a GameCube, so they don't know.
They're wireless with everything, yeah.
So, I mean, but then that answers that question. Yeah, brings up another question. Are those people going to be getting that pre-order with that controller because they're not used to it? So
yeah, I mean, it's $100 for that special bundle.
Yeah.
So that's a lot for
for me, I'll just use the gamepad.
Yeah, I mean, I already put 50 down, so I figured. I mean, it pretty much equals out to the same. Pay 50 for the game. You figure it's like $30 for the controller and like $20.
Well, I wonder if you're going to be able to use that controller for anything else, though.
I'm not sure what they said. Like if you'll be able to use it for any of the virtual console games.
Okay.
On the Wii U.
You will?
I'm not positive. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
That'd be good.
I mean, that would be great. Sweet. So another thing that was talked about this week that I saw on YouTube was a lot of people were doing, IGN actually was doing the unboxing of the Amiibos.
Yeah, the Amiibos are coming out real soon, kind of to coincide with the release of Smash Brothers. Amiibos is pretty much like a Nintendo's take jumping on with Disney Infinity and Skylanders. They're little figurines of your favorite Smash Brother characters, and they have a lot of functionality that you can use them in the game.
Well, I saw a review.
Okay.
And I saw the review for Smash Brothers.
Okay.
And what I took from it, and I haven't done any other research on these things yet. Mm-hmm. So what I took on it was you put it on the gamepad, it registers that Amiibo.
Yeah.
And then it actually saves that data to that toy, to that figure. Now, does that mean that you can take that Amiibo and go over a friend's house and use your same character of how you've, leveled them up?
Now, I'm not positive if it, as far as I know, it's when you, like, if you get a Mario Amiibo, put it on your gamepad, a AI Mario will go into the game to fight.
Okay.
and you'll have your own character that you're playing, so you can fight this AI Mario, and you can kind of train him with that. And then if you want to go to your friend's house, you could bring that same Mario amiibo and have him go into the battle there. I'm not sure if you can save the stats of a character you play onto the amiibo, or if the amiibo is
What do
always
you mean by you play? Like the one
like if
that
I always
face?
play as Mario and I
Yeah.
want my amiibo to be like the character I play as. I don't know if they're always just like AI that play. If you get your Samus and you put it in and she just plays and you can't control her. I'm not sure if it's you can control the amiibo or not.
Oh, I think it's just the ones of that you're playing as.
It might upgrade, like if you're playing Mario and you scan your Mario amiibo,
Right.
it might upgrade that character.
Right. The only downside is you obviously can't. It's just a very interesting thing because you go over to somebody's house and then you put it on the system. I don't know if the amiibos are being registered with the system or with your serial
No,
numbers.
yeah, as far as I know, they're going to be able to travel anywhere into any systems, as well as the 3DS. The 3DS, though, you're going to need an adapter for the
Okay.
amiibos to work until the new 3DS is released. It's already out in Japan, which is it's called the new 3DS, which is going to be confusing, but whatever.
It's like why do they do that? Like even like the new Super Mario Brothers.
Yeah.
They just call it Super Mario Brothers like 20 or something. Like I don't know. I just how many new Super Mario Brothers can you have?
Right.
There's the new Super Mario Brothers Wii U. There's the new Super Mario Brothers for Wii. I mean, they come up with some kind of Zelda. They don't have any issues with Zelda.
Yeah. It's not
They name the
Wii U.
game a different. There's always some kind of a different. Why don't you do like Tragedy in the Mushroom Kingdom or something? Like I don't know.
Yeah.
Like just come up with some kind of a game name rather than just putting the word new on it.
I know.
It's like
so
everything's
confusing.
new. All right, well, 20 years from now, it's not new anymore.
I know.
So
well, that's a whole nother topic with Nintendo.
Yeah.
But.
So, but with the amiibos too, there's a lot of the downloadable content.
Yeah. They're not only going to be used in Smash Brothers. They're going to be other games. It's just Smash Brothers is where they're releasing with
I think
it.
it's a launching pad.
Right. So people are going to want all those characters. That's why the only characters you see are in Smash Brothers as well. You're not going to see like different ones that are in.
Yes, and they did say that. I think. What are they releasing? 8.
I think there's more than 8. I want to say there's like 10 or 12.
Okay.
And then they're doing a phase 2.
Yes, and they said that the phase 2, I believe, is in December. So I think the first one's come out, or is it the first one's come out in a couple weeks?
Yeah, first one's maybe after the holidays.
I don't know, but yeah. So the original characters. I mean, how many characters are there in Smash Brothers?
There's a lot. So
it's
like 30, I think.
So are they probably doing?
I don't think they're doing every character in Smash Brothers, but you get the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
So I wonder if they're going to do characters like are they going to do any downloadable content for Bayonetta or you said that they were doing something for Hyrule Warriors.
Yeah. Now, so you're going to be able to use these amiibos in other games like Mario Kart 8, and you're going to be able to use it in Hyrule Warriors. So if you get your Link amiibo and you put him on your gamepad and you're playing Hyrule Warriors, that Link amiibo is going to unlock a special weapon that you couldn't get otherwise than owning the Link amiibo.
Right.
And then if you want to use them in Mario Kart 8, you can take your Link amiibo and you swipe it on your gamepad, and your Mii that's driving your car will now have like a Link outfit.
Yes.
Or a Donkey Kong outfit.
Yes.
And I think that's kind of the content that's in Mario Kart 8. So it's going to be different for each game. Maybe it's going to unlock a weapon. Maybe it's going to give you an outfit.
So with that being said, I think it will be interesting if it does work with Hyrule Warriors and they come out with all the Hyrule Warriors characters.
Right.
That you could play as, because you could play as essentially all of them.
Yeah.
There's a ton of them in there. So that'll be interesting. But as far as downloadable content, I'm sure you saw the video from, I believe it was, I think it was Grid Gaming with Aaron.
Okay.
From Retro Liberty, and he was talking about, when is downloadable content like too much? I mean, how do you feel about downloadable content? Like he said that, put the game off a couple of months, I think, and then come out with something like huge.
Right.
But I mean, how do you feel about that?
It's a tough situation, whereas me and you were both retro and we grew up with games where if it sucked, we kind of dealt with it and still tried to enjoy it.
And
Whereas now,
hope for a sequel.
hope for a sequel that's fixed all the bugs. Now it kind of like the developers, they're like, well, we can just put the game out and we can always have downloadable stuff after, patches for it and extra stuff. And so you pay $60 for this game. And then, I want to get some more maps. Now I got to pay another $10. Now I got to pay $15 for this outfit. And you end up paying, $100 for this game, where it should have just been that initial $60.
Yeah. The one thing, the first game that I never downloaded extra content before for games, but until I had Injustice: Gods Among Us for PlayStation 3.
Okay.
Because being, a comic book fan, I wanted to have all these other characters, like all these variants of, I think I downloaded like a zombie pack, and it turns all your characters into zombies. Like you can select them to play as zombies and cyborgs and things like that.
Yeah.
So I definitely got that. And then there were also just some characters that were only available for downloadable content.
Yeah.
Which you have to purchase.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed it. I did not enjoy the cost that came with it. I think it needs to be a little bit more cost effective.
Right.
Because you're thinking about it, Mario Kart 8 is going to have, they're coming out with their downloadable content.
And they split it up into two groups, yeah. So it releases Thursday.
Yep.
And then the next batch, I think, is
2015. I think it's in
May.
March. May or
it's pretty late.
Yeah.
So it was like $7 a piece, or 14 for the pack, or
I think it was. I think I read somewhere today it was $7.99 for each one.
Yeah.
Or it was $11.99
for
both of them.
Okay.
I ended up getting both of them when they announced it.
Yeah.
Just because, I mean, if you're gonna buy one for $7.99, what's $3 more to get the other one?
The way I looked at it was, obviously I'm a bigger Zelda fan than I am Animal Crossing.
Right.
But you're not only just getting Animal Crossing figures, you're also getting like 4 new race tracks. So I'm like, well, I might as well get the tracks. I'm not going to use the characters, but
yeah, and that's the same thing for me. Is like I wanted to get the Link pack, but Animal Crossing. I've never played that game before, and I don't know anything about it, and the characters don't interest me, and so the only reason I got it was
for the extra tracks,
for the tracks, and the fact that they were for $3 more, you get all the other stuff. So I was like,
I also got, I think, $5 off because there was like a weird promotion. So it's like when I bought my Wii U, I got the Mario Kart 8 edition. Okay. And then I registered Mario Kart 8, which gave me a free game. And then when I did like the survey on the free game, it gave you like $5 like e-store credit or something weird like that. Okay. So I used that towards the downloadable content as well. So I at least got some money off that way, so it's full price.
So it always pays to do those.
Those little surveys.
Yeah, cool. So so why don't we get into our next topic?
This is going to be a new topic. I think we're going to try to do each podcast. Since we already have the top 5 of whatever for each podcast, we're also going to talk about some of our favorite box art. Now it doesn't have to be strictly Nintendo, pretty much any platform, but this week we're going with Nintendo. And for my box art, I picked Super Mario Brothers 2. It's kind of like the black sheep of the family. Not a lot of people like it because, we all know it's Doki Doki Panic. It was released in Japan. They swapped out the sprites and all that. But,
well, I will interrupt you, and I will say that Mario 2 is my favorite Mario on NES.
Yeah.
The last time we had the podcast, we talked a lot about Jaws. Remember when we were talking about Jaws? And Mario 2, I just have a lot of great memories from.
Yeah.
And the fact that look, when we were young, we didn't know it was based off of another game.
Yeah.
So I think anybody that complains about that now, then, okay, they've done their research. But you know what? Growing up and playing this game all the time, it was something different from the Mario series, and that's what I enjoyed for it.
Yeah, it didn't make it that much different because you're like, okay, this is how Mario 1 was. Okay, now they're doing it a little bit different. Right. There's Mario 2. And I thought it was great. You had 4 different characters you could choose from.
You could play each of the characters, and then, we didn't know what to expect. I mean, the first time I put it in the system and then played it, I was kind of like blown away. I was like, wow, they've really upgraded the Mario series. I mean, you were used to, even the quality looked 100 times better.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge fan of Mario 2.
So looking at the box art here, you got Mario jumping on the front, and he's holding like some type of vegetable. It looks like, and it just says Mario Madness.
Him jumping in the clouds.
Him jumping in the clouds, and it just looks so colorful. And you're like, this just looks awesome. Like it's a.
And it looks like it's like the fattest Mario of the whole series.
I mean, this pulled a lot. This game, like when they made the cartoon series, it pulled a lot of stuff from this game.
Yes.
Out of it, and I thought that was
great.
The
villains and
and everything. So on the back there, it just says Super Mario Brothers 2. Mario's back, bigger and badder than ever before.
He is bigger.
And it has a couple screenshots, and it shows like a different Mushroom Kingdom. Is this the Mushroom Kingdom? You don't know. There's like vines and stuff.
Does it say anything in the description about the Mushroom Kingdom?
Well, we could read the back here and see what it says.
Well, you know what? I mean, I'm not okay. You know what? It's how many years since this came out?
It's got to be like 20 something.
Okay,
it says 88. So
all right. So by now you should all know about the game. So spoiler alert: if you don't like this, then shut it off. But the entire game is a dream sequence.
Right.
So Mario wakes up at the very end when you beat it. And, maybe that's the other thing, too. It's part of a dream, so it's not Mushroom Kingdom. It's just this other world. And maybe that was Nintendo's cover-up. I don't know the ending of, what was it? Toki... I don't know.
Doki Doki
Panic.
Doki.
Yeah, I don't know how that ended either, but if it was the same one, then fine. But, I mean, when you look at it as a Super Mario Brothers game from the series, it is different, it's more unique, and it has that different kind of ending where he's not saving the princess.
Yeah, I'll just read it in the back here. I was kind of browsing through it, but it says, this time it's a fierce, action-packed battle to free the land of Subcon from the curse of the evil wart. So it's not Mushroom Kingdom, it's Subcon.
Subcon. And that's the other thing, Bowser's not even in this.
Wart is the bad guy. It's up to you, along with Mario, Luigi, Toad, and the princess, to fight your way through bizarre multi-level worlds and find him. This time you got a brand new kind of power. A plucking power. And now anything you can find can be a weapon. Which is great. It's instead of like when you first started playing this and you go jump on an enemy, you're like, wait, he didn't die.
Right.
I can ride them.
You could pick him up.
Or pick them up and hurl them. You've never seen creatures like these. You got Shy Guys, Tweeters, Ninja, and Bezos. And you never had an adventure like this. Only cunning and speed can save you now. I thought it was great. I had a great time playing Super Mario 2.
Do you have any story of when you got it, the first time you played it, or anything like that?
I know I ended up picking it up at Toys R Us.
Okay.
And then same thing at Toys R Us. Like you would go there. It'd be a wall of the games, and you would take your little ticket, pay for the game, and you go to this little shack where this guy was in, and he would just come out with the box game and be like, all right, here you go.
Well, I remember that this game there was so much buzz about this game. And the one thing that I remember is me and my brother were at school. And in the morning, we begged my mother and we were like, can you please go and get this game?
Yeah.
It's going to sell out, please. And all through school that day, we were like, oh, we weren't expecting our mom to get it. We're like, she's not going to get it. It's going to be sold out. And then she picks us up from school. We get in the car, and she's got a bag for us.
Yeah.
And she had the Mario 2 game, and we were just like, we looked at it, we were just in awe. Like when you get that game and you look at it for the first time. And then my mom told us the story about she went to, I think it was Service Merchandise.
Okay, yep.
Remember that one?
Yep.
And she said that when she got in there, it was the last one on the shelf.
Nice.
So someone was on our side that day, and so I remember bringing it home, playing it for the first time, and that's the memory that I have of this game is that first time we got it. So,
nice.
But yeah,
Mario Brothers 2. All right, Dave, let's talk about your box art.
All right, so surprise, surprise. My first one I'm going to talk about is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. There's a lot of things that I could talk about this, but I'm not going to keep it too long. First off, you sent me a video this week about a guy on YouTube who talks about box art.
Yep.
And I was kind of hesitant to watch it. I ended up watching it, and I was like, oh, well, what's this guy going to say? He's going to make comments about the red bandanas. He's going to talk about the game itself. So here's my take on it. First off, it's got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles logo from the cartoon.
Yep.
Okay.
Cartoon series, so it looks real familiar.
So there's that. But then on the box art, it has 4 of the 4 turtles, and they're all in red bandanas.
Yeah.
Now, I didn't know this growing up because I wasn't into comic books. But the cover is actually taken from issue number 4. I believe it was the second printing of it.
Okay.
Because when the Turtles comics were out way back when, every time that they had a second printing, third printing, fourth printing, they had a different cover.
Oh, okay.
So it was a completely different cover that they did. So this one was by artist Michael Dooney, who I've met a few times. He's signed some stuff. He actually signed my Ninja Turtles Nintendo game for me.
Now, why didn't you have him sign the box?
I don't know. Maybe I just didn't think about it. But I have a few copies of the Nintendo game.
Okay, fair enough.
That maybe I want. I don't know. But I thought that was cool. You know, I got it signed. So maybe next time, because he does go to a lot of Comic Cons, maybe I'll bring the box and I'll have him sign the box. But I think I woke up that morning going to Comic Con and not even thinking about it. But then all of a sudden I was like, well, Michael Dooney's going to be there. I actually have the comic book. So I said, let me bring the comic book. And I was like, wait a minute. I should have him sign a Nintendo game. Yeah. So I brought the Nintendo game in. And let me tell you, as soon as I handed it to him, I went up to him. I said hello. I introduced myself, and I said, would you mind signing a couple things for me? And he's like, sure, no problem. So I went around. I opened up my bag. I pulled out the comic book and I handed it to him. And then I went back in my bag, and when he saw the comic book, he was just like, oh, okay. He kind of figured it was something like that. But then I pulled out the game, and his eyes lit up, and he was like, oh wow, this is not normal. Not a lot of people. I'm wondering how many people actually bring a Nintendo game for him to sign.
Yeah, probably not too many people know that maybe he did it, or since they don't read comics and they just strictly play video games, they don't put 2 and 2 together.
Yeah. So the reason I ended up, when I got older and I started getting into more of the Turtle comics, I'm collecting all the old comics, and I actually have that issue. Along with the box art and the game itself, so I like to display them all together. And I love the box art. Now, the reason that they're all with red bandanas is because in the comic books, they only had black and white issues. There was no color in the comic books, the old comic books from Mirage. Once they got to the Archie series was more based on the cartoon. Okay. So it was all more of the cartoon characters and things like that. But the reason they were red is because in the comic books they didn't have any color, so they put the red on here, and I think that they kept them all the same because they wanted to concentrate more on the weapons. So you would distinguish each turtle based on their weapon. Yeah. But when you got to the cartoon and then they switched them to colors, they wanted kids to relate to them by color. Not weapons. Not weapons. Because of violence. And it's also a perfect. It's also perfect to say. Well, I don't even know what I'm saying, but let me rewind on that. I went to Target the other day, and they actually just released the toy line. With the toy line, they released the comic book versions. Yes. So I looked at them. I went up to them. I picked them up off the shelves, and they are literally the exact same figure, just with different weapons. Yeah. So each one of them is identical. And when I say identical, it's not because I'm saying, oh, well, they all look the same anyway. They all just have, the same colors and things like that. But no, the way they modeled these was after they kind of tried to copy the NECA toys that had come out. They were comic book related toys, and they just did them very cheaply, made of plastic, and they have this cross hatching on it, almost like it's sketched. Okay. But the way they did it on the new toys, is they look like they're just scarred. Oh, okay. And they look like they've really been cut out. Yeah, they're really beat up. And the reason I say that they're the exact same is because all of those cross hatchings or scars, like I say, they're all in the exact same spots.
Oh, okay.
So they took one mold.
Yeah, just
they
put
made
different
and they just put different weapons in the package.
Saved a lot of money.
It's awful. So I refuse to go out and I collect the turtle toys, but I refuse to go out and buy those because once you have one, all you're buying is the weapons.
Maybe they
themselves.
can have a weapon package.
It's so ridiculous. So anyway, back to the artwork. What I did find interesting that I did not know is I did not know that this is made by Ultra Games, which was another company by Konami.
Yes, because back in the day, Nintendo only allowed companies to release, I think, a few games, maybe 3 or 4 games per year. So they didn't want to oversaturate the market, much like how the video game crash happened.
So then Konami came out with another company,
so to say, yeah.
And then they released, Turtles 1, Turtles 2, and then Turtles 3 was on Konami.
Yeah, the Manhattan Project.
Yeah, so they moved back on that, which I did learn from that video. So yeah. I did learn something from it.
I can't remember his name. I think it was Dave, the NES guy.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, something like that.
So definitely check him out, Dave, the NES guy on YouTube.
Yep. And so on the back, they have, 5 images, which is great. They're screenshots. You got the water level. You got the sewer level. You got, I believe this was the Technodrome. Then they have an aerial view of
like over the top when you're in the city, so to
yep,
say.
and you have to go down the sewers and you're moving around the map.
Yeah.
And then they also have the like map
select screen.
Select screen of when you can select all the characters.
Yeah.
So I thought that they put really good images on the back to represent the game because it's literally throughout the entire game and it's almost all of the screens that you'd recognize.
I mean, with us growing up, we didn't have any sources to see how the gameplay was. So us just looking at the back of the box, we had to take the screenshots for what they were worth and like, does this look cool? Does it look playable?
Right. And I know for me personally, I never read the back.
Oh, okay.
I never read the back.
I would just go. Kids are gonna look pictures.
I just went right for the pictures.
How cool does it look? Let's go.
Yeah. So on the back of this, I mean, I'm not even gonna read this because it's so ridiculous and crazy. But it says so. Team up with the Turtles: Raphael, Leonardo, Michelangelo, and Donatello. Then switch on the tortoise radar. Okay, so now they're tortoises. They're not turtles. Following the map and a sixth sense. Past savage traps and secret sewage passages until you knock heads with the nasty ninjutsus and either splatter them senseless or get yourself turned into turtle soup. Now that one comment that I was going to mention to you. Now the front of this, the front of the box.
Yeah.
They show the turtles on the comic.
Mm-hmm.
But what I found is interesting is the title was from the cartoon.
Yeah, so they kind of mismatched
but the game really plays like a comic rather than the cartoon because the same characters sure, you had Bebop, you had Rocksteady,
the main guys.
But a lot of like the regular villains in it.
You didn't really see any Foot Clan.
No,
like the purple Foot Clan that you always think of seeing.
Exactly. So I think
Rat King or any of those.
Exactly. So I think I thought it was very interesting that they used a comic for the front. But they use the recognizable logo
because that's what kids are going to be drawn to.
Exactly,
you're seeing all the other toys. And they're like, oh my god, there's the turtle game.
Oh, what's your thought on the box art?
I always thought it was cool. I never knew what this was in the background. Like, what is that?
Okay. So interestingly enough, in the background, it almost looks like a spaceship.
It does, yeah. I didn't know if that was the Technodrome or like.
And this is another thing that I can mention is the comic book. Mm-hmm. That is where the comic book cover ends.
Okay.
But it continues on the back.
Okay, so you can open
up the comic book full, and you'll have the entire back of it bleeding onto the front. Mm-hmm. So you have this grand scheme of this big battle.
Yeah.
And I don't remember off the top of my head what it was, but I know that there was some kind of a battle with robots, and I think it was from like Dimension X or something like that. But anyway, it was. Yeah, so, when you see it and you think of like, oh, it looks like a spaceship, and there's no spaceships in the game either.
Right.
So it's not like... So I found it... it's based on the comic book, and it's got the
big
whole...
fold out.
Yeah, so it has the fold out.
I mean, yeah, it looks cool. It looks like a cool action game, and you're like, all right, Ninja Turtles. If you like Turtles, grab the game.
Yeah, now the other interesting thing that I don't think anyone really mentions is that on the box art, because it's from the comic book, that they all have tails. So if you
you see that?
Yeah. So if you look, essentially between their legs, you can see that they have their tails, which they had in
the
comic
comics,
book,
but not in the cartoon
not
series.
in the cartoon series. So, because I mean, if looking at it, I mean, now that you look at it, you can't unsee it.
Yeah, now
it's very
it's
suggestive.
Take you,
yeah. So there's my box art.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, that leads into some other stuff we want to talk to while we're talking about Ninja Turtles and comics.
Yeah, let's. I want to talk about the Turtles. Now, last year, it was announced that they were going to do a Turtles Ghostbusters crossover.
Okay.
And growing up, I'm a Ghostbusters fan, Turtles fan. I was psyched for it.
Yeah.
But interestingly enough, I randomly saw an image on Google.
Yeah.
Of a Ghostbusters Turtles team up.
Okay.
That had nothing to do with the comic or anything that was going to come out. So I saw it and I was like, the power of Google. I found this great image of a turtle team up with a Ghostbuster.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And I don't know if you use Time Hop.
No, I haven't, but my wife does a lot. So
okay, so for those that don't know, Time Hop is a application for your phone where it'll tell you 1 year to the day, 2 years to the day, 3 years, and so on, of what you posted on any social media sites or what pictures you've taken with your phone on that day.
Yeah.
So, interestingly enough, the day that the Turtles Ghostbusters crossover miniseries got released, issue number 1 year ago to the day, I posted on Facebook that photo of Ghostbusters, and it's weird, just extremely weird. Like it works in mysterious ways. So I read the first issue. The only one issue is out so far, and I really liked it. I mean, it's kind of like a setup for the rest of the miniseries. Mm-hmm. I don't know how many issues it is. It's probably like 4 or 5 issues, but it was really good. And I know you haven't read it yet, so I'm not going to get too much into it. But it's literally like a lead up into the series of where both of them are at the given time and how they kind of cross paths.
Yeah.
And then that's basically the entire book.
Okay.
It goes into some background information of like, the villains that they're going to face and things like that. So, but the battle will begin in issue 2.
Okay.
So you didn't miss much, but I mean, you got some time to catch up.
Nice.
The other thing that I read today was that the Thor annual is going to be coming out soon. And
now, what is the Thor annual?
Okay,
Thor
Thor the character.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. You're not too familiar with comic books, so they do annual issues.
Okay.
Okay, so during the year they will do story arcs, and a story arc will last 5 or 6 issues.
Okay.
So you have one story for 5 or 6 issues, and then it goes into another story.
Okay.
So for instance, if you were to go and buy like a trade paperback, like you go to Barnes & Noble, you see those graphic novels?
Yeah.
What are they, like volume 1, 2, 3, 4? It's because from those comic books, those are the story arcs in those volumes. So you're essentially going to the store and you're buying, those 5 or 6 issues in a trade paperback that will tell you the whole story of that part of the series.
Yeah.
So when they do annuals are a little bit longer. They're a little bit of a thicker book. It's still a comic book.
Yeah.
But it's a one shot. So the entire story's in in
so you
one
buy
comic.
That's
right.
The whole start to finish.
And it's usually a little bit more expensive. They can go $5.99, $6.99. But it's one story. That sometimes they actually open up things to stories that are going to be coming.
Okay.
So they will connect stories together, or they will introduce a new storyline that may come up in the future. So there's always a reason for it.
Yeah.
But it is a standalone issue if you just want to read it by itself.
And does it come out the same time every year? It's different for each
series?
Or...
They do come out. They typically come out at the end of the year, although some of them do come out, in the springtime. And that's the way I've seen it anyway.
So the Thor one's coming out soon.
Yeah, I don't have a release date on it, and I don't even know if it's written yet. All I read online was that the wrestler CM Punk is going to be writing it.
Okay.
And as soon as I saw it, CM Punk, if you're a wrestling fan, is going. There's a lot of controversy about his contract with the WWE and how he got fired from the WWE, but they still have his licensing rights for his toys, and they came to some kind of an agreement. Not to get too deep into it, but basically all the fans want him back, but there's nothing in sight for him to come back. And he claims that he's retired and he's moved on, but then there's always that speculation. He's one of those like urban legends that like, oh, he's gonna come back and it's gonna be awesome, and they're just doing this because like, they either gotta figure it out or they're doing this for the fans because they're keeping the fans' hopes up, and
right.
It's just a lot of online conspiracy theories of what's going on. So when I read this that CM Punk was gonna do the Thor annual, I was like, oh, wow, like, how is this going to go? And also, I don't know if you know, but Thor, they just transferred into a girl.
That's what I was going to say, yeah, I did remember seeing that somewhere.
Yes. However, I think the annual will be with the guy Thor.
Oh, okay.
So
now, he's not drawing it, he's just writing the story.
No, he's writing the story.
Right, okay.
Right. And I know that, you know the band My Chemical Romance?
Yeah.
Gerard Way actually just did a storyline as well. He just did writing. I'm probably wrong when I say this, but there's a shred of me that thinks it's true. I think it might have been like some kind of Spider-Man tie-in, but I could be totally wrong. So Don't quote me on that. But yeah, he just actually did one, and I listened to the Comic Vine podcast, which is where I go for my comic book information and what's coming out and what books to read, and they give their take on it. And the guys in there said that Gerard Way of My Chemical Romance did an amazing issue.
Okay.
So they're actually hoping that he does more. So
nice.
So it's interesting that all these celebrities are coming in and they're doing these stories for these comic books.
Yeah.
And I'm just really interested to see how this CM Punk thing goes, because I know he must be some kind of a comic book fan, because he's got a ton of tattoos.
Okay.
And I swear every time I see him wrestle, I swear I can see like a Cobra Commander tattoo.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh well, he must be into some of that. So I'm hoping that it's good. I'm gonna read it. It's CM Punk. I like Thor. I hope he doesn't
butcher it too much.
No, I hope not. So I thought that was cool.
Cool.
And then the other thing I want to talk about for comics is I've been watching the show Gotham.
Yeah.
And I know you don't have cable, but I know
because I'm poor. No.
But I know that you like Batman.
I'm into Batman. I would like to watch Gotham. I heard about getting Hulu Plus, and they have the shows on there, so that's an option for me to watch Gotham.
Yeah, well, I found some interesting tidbits about Gotham. Okay. Well, first off, I love the show.
Yeah.
It's a prequel. It's Bruce Wayne growing up as a kid, and it's more of the story of.
It's after his parents got killed, or
it starts with his parents being killed.
Okay.
So that's how it starts. And then Commissioner Gordon is actually a detective in his rookie year, so he's completely new to the force.
Okay.
And it's basically a story around him and the crime around Gotham.
Yeah.
And how Gotham, comes to be.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but I will say, go check it out.
Okay.
But the reason I want to bring it up is I found a very interesting tidbit about this. Is Netflix actually owns the rights to season 2.
Okay.
So before Fox ever aired, it's on. No, I'm sorry. Is it on Channel 8? I don't remember what it's on. Well, anyway, I DVR it, so that's why I don't know, because I watch it on DVR so I can fast forward the commercials. But interestingly enough, I found that Netflix actually purchased the rights to Gotham before the first episode came out.
Oh, okay.
So now that it's doing so well, that there's a battle, because now Fox, or I believe it's Fox, wants to buy it back from Netflix, because it's, so Netflix took a chance on it, not realizing like, oh, well, is it going to be a success? Or so now Netflix is in so now season 2 is technically only supposed to be on Netflix.
Yeah, and so many people would be like, what the heck? Well, now I got to buy a Netflix
account.
Right,
so now Netflix is super, super smart about it. They have Daredevil coming out exclusively.
Okay.
They have a lot of exclusive shows, and now rumor has it that HBO Go is going to be a service as well.
Okay.
So I found it very interesting that that's the basically what's going on with Gotham is that we don't know where it's going to be next year.
Yeah.
They have signed on to a second season, but we don't know how far
I'm
it's
sure
going to go.
Netflix will say, hey, send us this amount of money and you can have it on
Right.
so and so, but we're also going to stream it.
Who knows? But HBO Go is also going to be a streaming service now, which is great because for me, I watch Game of Thrones, but I don't have HBO.
I see.
So I don't want to pay for HBO with my cable bill and everything what it is. So now the opportunity to buy HBO on the go for for your systems and streaming it online and things like that. I thought that was really cool that that's going to be available because the new season of Game of Thrones is coming out, and I'm pretty hooked on it. Nice. I don't know if you're interested.
Yeah, I haven't been able to get into too many shows since I only have Netflix and I just watch YouTube. I don't get cable or any of that just because it's too much money for like basic cable. That's why I was like, maybe I could get this Hulu Plus. That's only like $10 a month or so.
Now, how have you been watching anything on Netflix or?
No, just like regular movies. I did check out that video game movie that just came out. I think Xbox like had something to do with it, or Microsoft, I think, helped make it.
Okay. I didn't know that.
I believe so, because I think it was only on like Xbox, like you could watch it there now. But now it's on Netflix, so you can just watch it. It's like 2 hours, I think. And we watched it, the first half of it, a little bit.
I think we watched it up until like there was like 40 minutes left. I think we watched a good hour of it.
Yeah. It's really cool. Definitely dives into the whole aspect, all the way from Atari, the video crash, Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Sega, PlayStation, all the way up until now with like online games, Xbox One and PS4, where it's going in the next 10, 20 years.
And what did you think of the documentary itself?
Yeah, it was really well put together. They had great footage and pretty much touched on everything. Obviously, me and you kind of enjoyed the first and second half a little bit better because it touched on more of the Nintendo and stuff we grew up with. Mm-hmm. And we're not too new onto with the PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. I don't really play a lot of those games, so I was just like, okay, whatever.
Well, when I watched it, I felt that the last half an hour was kind of thrown together.
Oh, okay.
I didn't think it flowed as good as the first hour.
It's like, all right, we need to wrap this up.
Yeah, exactly. and there's not a whole lot of content to fill with all that newer stuff. Like they kind of touched base on this is where gaming is now, this is where it's going, this is what we can do.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, okay, that's the end. We're done. See you later. There is that other movie on there that I think you've watched, Indie Game.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, I seen that one maybe last year. They came out and they talk about the guy who made Fez.
Yep.
And Braid and a few other Super Meat Boy,
yeah.
Which was really interesting.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it, and they just came out with the second one.
Oh, there is like a sequel?
Yeah, so it's a follow-up to all of what they're doing now.
I see.
And they have it up on iTunes. You can rent it. I'm just waiting for it to go on Netflix because it's inevitable that it's going to be up there rather than spend $5 to go and rent it that they may not actually even see profits from. So
yeah.
But yeah, no, I was into that. Anything else going on you want to dive into?
No, I think we could just jump into our top 5 of the week.
Yeah, let's do that.
This week,
go ahead.
We're going to theme it more towards toys.
Yeah.
So, this way it's more diverse. We're not always talking about video games.
And this week we have an honorable mention.
Yeah, so we're going to do... Well, I guess we're going to stick with this format. It's top 5, but they're not like in any order.
Right.
It's just 5 toys that we remember from our childhood. And then we have an honorable mention, one that didn't make either one's list.
Yeah. So we'll go 1 for 1 then.
1 for 1.
And are these in any particular order?
No, I mean, I just jotted them down quick.
Okay, so you go ahead.
So one of them on my list is G.I. Joe. Obviously, as growing up in the 80s, G.I. Joe was real big with the cartoon.
Yep.
And the figures were everywhere. I think anytime I went to Kmart, I'd beg my dad, please get me G.I. Joe. Mm-hmm. And I would have so much fun with them, just setting up like zip lines with string.
Yep.
And just like having them like battle each other and getting all the little like weapons. I love the ninja G.I. Joe, so I had Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes and all that.
I was never into G.I. Joe. I never owned one G.I. Joe.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't my thing.
I got a few of the vehicles here and there. I didn't own the big giant battleship or the space station because those were ridiculous and cost tons of money.
And they're huge.
And they're huge. We had the space station come into the game store, and it goes for like $400 like nowadays. Mm-hmm. And that thing is so big. And I was like, what can I play with this?
There's so many pieces too.
Oh my god, I know. I was just fine with like getting a Jeep. I even use, non-G.I. Joe vehicles to put the figures in there. It's like, all right, I got the budget Jeep. Who cares?
Yep.
But yeah, I had a great time with G.I. Joe.
So my one of mine first on the list is Micro Machines.
Oh, nice.
So I used to have tons of Micro Machines. I had the little Micro Machines carrying case.
You see, Micro Machines made my list.
Is that on your list too? So Micro Machines definitely. I mean, I had Hot Wheels.
Okay.
But I don't know, Micro Machines. I had the little car wash, and
Yeah, I had the car wash.
So they're just they were fun, and
I enjoyed the little so they came in like a foldable little like rectangle. Some of the pieces.
Yeah.
And then you can fold it out, and then they interlock with each other. So if you got 10 of these things, you could build like a city.
Yeah.
I thought that was awesome. Oh, I want to get the car wash, and I need the gas station,
right?
And the fish and chips. Mm-hmm. I remember that one.
So I was big into the Micro Machines.
I think I still have a few of them. I know I have like it looks like a barn or something, and that unfolds. It was like a city. Yeah, I have a bunch in there.
The only thing that I have left is I do have the carrying case with my cars itself. Yeah, that's all I have left. Yeah, I don't have the car wash anymore or any of that.
Then they would always come in. Like a three pack.
Exactly.
So you're like, okay, I get a Jeep, a race car, and a truck,
right,
or whatever. I thought that was a great. So yeah, that was like another item I would pick up going to Kmart.
So what else you got on your list?
Ninja Turtles, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's on both of our lists.
On there. I mean, those are pretty much growing up a staple. Everyone was into the Turtles.
Yep.
I still have mine. I display them.
I have all of mine.
Yeah, I maybe lost some of the accessories, but I have most of them.
I still got my sewer, my sewer play set. I still have a couple of the cars. The one thing that I never had though, that I always wanted, and I will get it eventually, is a Technodrome. Yeah, that's the one thing that I always wanted. That and actually the Shredder's car.
Oh, I don't know if I remember that.
It was purple. It looked like a Cadillac.
Oh,
and
wow.
That's one vehicle that I always wanted was the Shredder's car.
I had the, it wasn't the Technodrome, but I can't remember the name of it, but it had a giant drill on the front, and it was purple as well.
It was smaller, right?
Yeah, it was probably about the size of like the party wagon.
Okay, so they had that. Was it round like the like it looked like the Technodrome?
No, it was like it looked just like it'd be a party wagon. It was like a cylinder.
Oh, okay. I thought you were thinking of something else, but no, I know which one you're talking about. That's like the sewer dweller.
It must be.
Yeah, it's like I don't remember if that was a villain or if that
No, I think it was, because I remember it being like purple, so I figured like the Shredder was bad.
Yeah.
So I had that, and then I had the pizza thrower.
The pizza thrower I had too, and the pizza thrower, the motor went out. But those things, they chucked. Like,
now what I used to do, I used to get those little green army men. They're like the cheap plastic guys. Yeah. And I'd set them up in my yard and then shoot them down with the pizza thrower.
And that pizza shot out like a rocket. Like, those things were violent. I'm surprised that wasn't like recalled or anything. Yeah, growing up,
shooting into kids' mouths and choking.
But the motor itself, mine died and just wouldn't shoot anymore. Yeah. So, well, another one on my list is, and I'm gonna guess it's on yours, is He-Man.
Oh no, it didn't make my list.
Really? Okay. Well, yeah, He-Man.
I did play with He-Man a lot though. But...
Yep. I have very fond memories of He-Man. There was one memory though, and my brother knows this story, and it's always a conversation almost every holiday. Okay. At my house was the day that my mom gave away our Castle Grayskull.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So, and it's not like we outgrew it and she gave it away. Yeah. She gave it away with us in the living room, and one of her friends had come over with her kid. Yeah. And she sent him home with it. And she doesn't remember this at all. But,
blocked it out.
Oh my God. So, and I could just think to myself, like, what is she doing? Like, we were literally playing with it. And that's the Castle Grayskull. Yeah. Like, how can you just give that away? First off, it was expensive.
Yeah.
Second off, we were still playing with it. Like, it's not like like I said, we didn't grow up and grew out of it. Like, we were still playing with it in front of her when she gave it away.
Yeah.
And she was like, I think she was like, oh, no. She's just going to borrow it. But then that was it.
That was it.
And it was like, see you later. I watched the Castle Grayskull go out my door and out of my life.
Never to return. And
that is one story that we always bring up.
Jeez.
So my brother, I don't think remembers it very much, but I know my mom definitely doesn't.
Okay.
But I will bring it up all the time to her, and hopefully one day I will get a Castle Grayskull back. So what else you got?
Awesome. Let's see. I'll bring this up. I took a peek at your list, and let's see. I got in here. I don't think this one's on yours though.
What's that?
Nerf toys.
No, it's definitely not on mine.
I played with quite a few Nerf toys growing up. I remember having the bow and arrow Nerf toy, and then I had a slingshot that would put 3 balls and you could fire it with each other. And we, just with the kids in the neighborhood, we would have Nerf wars.
Okay.
And just fight each other. And today they still have like awesome Nerf guns.
I think the only Nerf thing that I had was the
football,
the spiral football.
Spiral football.
Yeah,
I whistling sound.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a good time. I enjoyed Nerf growing up.
Yep. The next one on my list is Muscle Men.
Okay.
Did you ever have those?
I did. That's my honorable mention.
That's your honorable mention.
Muscle Men.
Funny story about Muscle Men. I just found them at my parents' house last weekend.
Oh, nice.
So I brought them to my house.
We'll have to compare.
Yeah. I have literally a Tupperware container.
Mine is like a old like Christmas cookie metal tin.
There you go. Yeah, you got to carry them in something. But I was at Savers yesterday.
Oh, okay.
In Newington. So right down the street from the game store.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've ever been to that one, but it's got some pretty decent stuff. Mm-hmm. So in the glass case in the front of the store, they had 3 28-pack of Muscle Men.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like they were still sealed boxes that had 28 figures, and it had the little window so you can see all of them.
Oh, no kidding.
So they had, there were 3 of them, and they were like series 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, that's awesome.
It is awesome, but they wanted $15 a pop for them.
Oh, wow. So, yeah.
So I wasn't paying for it. Like, maybe if it was $15 for all 3 of them, I would have picked them up. But yeah, I definitely wasn't going to go, $45 for,
That's probably what they're going for on eBay. So
yeah, so.
Sealed in the
But yeah, Muscle Men, I had a ton of Muscle Men. Used to get them in the garbage cans.
Yeah.
And then later in the series, they ended up having them in different colors. And
yeah, I had purple ones. And
yep, I actually do have still one of the 4-packs still sealed.
Oh, okay.
So I'm pretty psyched about that.
Nice.
So what else you got?
Let's see. What else is on my list here? I got Marvel action figures.
Okay, so now I think is this 5 for you?
Yeah, that would be 5. Muscle Man was my
your honorable mention. Okay, so this is your last one.
Nerf, Micro Machine, and yeah, all the Marvel action figures. Just growing up, I enjoyed the G.I. Joes. So when I saw the Marvel action figures, I was like, "Oh man, these are great."
But those are more from the '90s, right?
Yeah, more towards that because I had like Cyclops, Wolverine, Weapon X.
Was the Wolverine with the yellow?
Yeah,
costume?
It was like the yellow-brown one.
Yep.
And it had like you can press a button and his claws would come out, or
nice.
you could like retract them.
You still have all of those?
Yeah, I have quite a few of them still. And that kind of lumps together with like I had some of the Batman figures as well that came out. So I remember I still have like Mr. Freeze, and Penguin, and the Joker. So I would just play with them all together.
Nice.
They're all in the same universe for me.
So those would be nice to still have.
Yeah.
So my honorable mention is actually I'm gonna group it together because they're both board games.
Oh, okay.
So one of them was Tornado Rex.
Okay.
And the other one is Fireball Island.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. Did you have either one of those?
I don't think I had them, but I know I played the Tornado Island at a friend's house.
Tornado Island. It's Tornado Rex and Fireball Island.
We must hybrid them together.
That would have been a sick game though. But no, Tornado Rex. He had this little top that you would hook onto this underneath a mountain, and you would crank it, And then if you were to land on a certain thing, you would have to press the button, and he would spin. And if he would knock you out, you'd have to go back to the beginning. And then Fireball Island was just this action-adventure board game that you would climb up this mountain to capture the jewel.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember so vividly the commercial that came with it.
Okay.
And it's very like Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
You know, you would go over a bridge, and then if you were to land on a certain piece, then the fireball would come out of the guy, which was just a red marble.
Yeah.
Out of the demon mountain's head.
That's right. Yeah.
So it would come down, and if you were literally on like a bridge, like there would be one section where it would come down into the water, and then it would hit the bridge and knock you over.
Yeah.
And then you'd have to go start off from the beginning again.
Oh yeah.
So that's, and I still do have both of them.
Nice.
Which I love.
I'll have to break them
I think I'm missing a few of the pieces, but still, I still have them both complete. You know, well, not complete, but they're both in the box. I'm missing maybe a few pieces, but you know,
yeah,
every kid loses some pieces of games here.
You just substitute it with the other pieces.
So yeah, so that's the top 5, and
cool.
That's my honorable mention. So we'll start to wrap it up here. There's a few announcements that we have, and that the first thing is our new online shop.
Yeah, Dave put together an online shop, 8-Bit Geekdom, and we got a couple of Ninja Turtle figures up there for sale that are in the original cardstock.
Yep.
Other than that, we're probably going to post up some Nintendo games.
Yep. And then we also have, I think you said you're going to do some customs.
Yeah, because I do a lot of custom like consoles or paintings that are like 8-bit or like perler bead stuff. So I'll probably try to put some stuff on there so guys can check it out and then just order it from the website.
Yeah, so the website is just 8bitgeekdom.storenv.com.
Yeah.
So you can check that out. And then to close it, we have our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, so all at 8-Bit Geekdom. So you can follow that. And I guess that's it until next time.
If there's any topics you guys want us to cover, leave a message on our Facebook page or, tweet us. And then we can cover them in the next episode.
Yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say?
Stay thirsty, my friends.
All right, guys. So till next time. Thanks for listening.
Thank you.